Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, we just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate your support. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, it's totally free, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest stories. Now, with all that said, let's jump straight into the story.
The house sighed around Anna like an old man settling into his favorite chair. It was a rental tucked away on the edge of town, the last house on a quiet cul-de-sac where the asphalt gave way to gnarly woods. The wraparound porch, the creaky floors, the drafty windows, they were all part of its charm, or at least that's what the realtor had said. Anna hadn't cared much either way. She just needed a place to land after the wreckage of her life back in the city. Early autumn painted the leaves in fiery hues, but a creeping chill had already begun seeping into the air. Most of the other houses on the street stood empty, victims of foreclosures and families moving on. The few remaining residents kept to themselves. After dusk, the neighborhood became eerily silent, the quiet broken only by the faint buzzing of the street lamps. It was on one of those hushed evenings that she first saw the cat, a sleek, black creature sitting regally on her porch swing. Its fur was the color of a moonless night, and its eyes were like chips of obsidian, reflecting the porch light with an unsettling intensity. It didn't move when she approached, just watched her with an unnerving stillness. Anna had never been a cat person. Post-breakup, however, she was desperate for some semblance of companionship. The cat returned the next evening and the one after that. Soon it was a fixture on the porch, always in the same spot, always watching. There was something comforting in its presence. It never meowed or begged for attention, but its gaze felt knowing, almost like it understood the ache in her heart. She started leaving out a saucer of milk, then some tuna. The cat ate silently, never once breaking eye contact. Over the weeks, it drew closer. It would brush against her legs as she unlocked the door, or sit patiently by her feet while she read on the porch. Odd things started happening. The birds that used to frequent the oak tree in her front yard vanished. Her neighbor's golden retriever, usually friendly, would bark ferociously at her house whenever they walked past. Anna dismissed it as coincidence, or perhaps the dog just didn't like cats. The rain started in late October, a relentless drumming that echoed the turmoil in Anna's mind. One particularly harsh night, the black cat was huddled on the porch, soaked and shivering. Against her better judgment, Anna opened the door. "Come on in," she murmured, feeling a strange pang of pity. The moment the cat crossed the threshold, the air in the house changed. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but Anna felt it, a thickening, a heaviness that settled in her lungs. The lights flickered momentarily, and the shadows in the corners of the room seemed to stretch just a little too long. That night, she had her first nightmare. A jumble of terrifying images, eyes peering from the walls, a persistent scratching sound beneath the floorboards, and a voice whispering her name from the darkness. She woke up in a cold sweat, convinced she had heard something. The cat was sitting at the foot of her bed, its eyes glowing in the dim morning light. From then on, the dreams became more frequent, more vivid. During the day, the house felt different. The cat was always there, watching from doorways, perched on bookshelves, somehow always in her line of sight. It never seemed to sleep. It would appear in rooms she knew it couldn't have entered, as if teleporting. Anna's friends noticed the change in her. She became withdrawn, paranoid. She stopped answering her phone, avoided going out. When they did visit, they commented on the house feeling creepy or unsettling. They stopped coming. The mirrors in the house started playing tricks on her. Brief glimpses of something monstrous lurking behind her reflection, a distorted, shadowy figure with glowing eyes. She'd whirl around, but there was never anything there. One morning, she found small, almost perfectly circular burn marks on the wooden floor where the cat often sat. And in the dust on the attic stairs, she saw faint, cloven hoofprints. Desperate, she tried to get rid of the cat. She put it outside miles away, but it was always back by nightfall. Sometimes she would find it inside the house, as if it had never left. Driven to the brink of sanity, Anna began researching local folklore, combing through dusty old books at the library. She stumbled upon a passage detailing a demonic entity known as Maros, a soul collector that often appeared in the guise of a black cat. The legend claimed that Maros sought out the lonely and vulnerable, befriending them, weakening their spirit, and ultimately claiming their soul once it was welcomed into their home. The description was chillingly familiar. Her sleep vanished entirely. Time lost all meaning. Her own reflection seemed to taunt her, whispering things she didn't want to hear. A tangible dark presence settled in the corners of the house, a weight that pressed down on her chest. The cat's form would flicker at the edge of her vision, morphing into a humanoid shadow with piercing yellow eyes. She tried everything. Rituals she found online, desperate prayers to a god she no longer believed in, even packing a bag and fleeing in the middle of the night. But the cat was always there, waiting for her when she returned, its gaze unwavering. Every time she tried to confide in someone, they saw nothing wrong. To them, it was just a regular cat, maybe a little strange but harmless. They looked at her with pity, as if she was the one who was unwell. One evening, as Anna sat huddled in the living room, the black cat finally spoke. At first, it was a faint whisper, a sibilant hiss that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Then the voice grew louder, clearer, resonating in her mind like a dark symphony. "You are lonely, Anna," it purred, the voice smooth and seductive. "You are broken. I can fix that." It offered her a bargain. Her soul in exchange for another. Any other. A stranger on the street, a distant relative, anyone. Anna recoiled, her heart pounding in her chest. She refused. She wouldn't condemn someone else to her fate. Summoning every ounce of courage she possessed, she prepared to banish the entity with a final, desperate ritual she had pieced together from various sources. As she began chanting, the cat rose to its full height, its eyes burning like molten gold. The humanoid shadow flickered around it, revealing glimpses of cloven hooves and leathery wings. "You think you can stop me?" it hissed, the voice laced with amusement. "You misunderstand, Anna. I never wanted your soul directly. I wanted you to give it to me. I wanted you to break yourself down, to surrender willingly, to become someone who would make the trade." The realization hit her like a physical blow. The loneliness, the isolation, the nightmares, the paranoia, it was all a carefully orchestrated plan to erode her will, to push her to the point of despair where she would willingly sacrifice another to save herself. Anna faltered, her resolve wavering. The cat lunged, its claws extended, its eyes promising oblivion. Outcome. Anna screamed and the world went black. Days later, a neighbor noticed the overgrown lawn and the overflowing mailbox. They peered through a window and saw Anna's lifeless body slumped in a chair, her eyes vacant, staring blankly ahead. The house felt cold, empty, devoid of any life. All that was found was her journal, filled with frantic scribbles and increasingly incoherent ramblings, and a simple black cat collar lying on the floor. A few streets over, a new family moved into an empty house. A young girl, feeling lonely in her new surroundings, spotted a stray black cat watching her from the shadows. It was small and sleek, with eyes like chips of obsidian. Hesitantly, she reached out a hand, and the cat purred and rubbed against her fingers. She smiled, a flicker of warmth in her eyes, and whispered, "Hello there. Are you lost?" That night, the little girl dreamed of fire. She was standing at the edge of a blackened field, smoke curling around her ankles, the air thick with the scent of sulfur and char. In the distance, a shape moved, tall, humanoid, and burning with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Watching. Waiting. The next morning, she told her parents about the cat, but when they looked outside, it was gone. Brushed it off as imagination. But the cat returned the following evening, this time sitting on their windowsill. Its eyes met the girl's again. She opened the window and let it in. Across town, the coroner had just signed off on Anna's death as cardiac arrest, stress-induced. Nothing unusual. No signs of struggle. No evidence of foul play. But the morgue technician, tasked with preparing her body for cremation, noticed something peculiar. Her fingernails were blackened, as if burned from the inside. The technician hesitated, unnerved by the vacant smile still frozen on her lips. Later that week, the morgue caught fire. They said it was electrical, a faulty fuse box. No survivors. Anna's body was never recovered. Back in the new neighborhood, the family started noticing odd things. The girl stopped eating. She spent hours staring at nothing. The dog, a scrappy terrier named Max, refused to go near her room, growling low in its throat whenever the cat passed by. The parents blamed the move, saying it could be stress or the new school, until the mother found drawings in the girl's room. Dozens of pages, all of them smeared in red crayon and charcoal, all showing the same figure, a towering shadow with cat eyes and cloven feet. Sometimes it was holding hands with a stick figure version of their daughter. Sometimes it stood over their bed as they slept. They confronted her, but the girl only said, "He likes me. He says I'm not broken like the last one." Meanwhile, something began stirring in the woods behind Anna's old house. A man walking his dog near the cul-de-sac reported seeing lights inside, though it had been boarded up for weeks. Another neighbor swore he heard a voice whispering from the overgrown hedges, calling him by name. The house had been declared vacant. But some nights, a single porch light flicked on, and a black cat was seen curled on the swing just like before. The cat, Maros, had always sought the lonely. But Anna hadn't failed him. She'd become him. That final scream, that blackout moment, it wasn't death. It was transfer. Maros had offered her a choice, and while she believed she refused, her fear, her surrender in that final moment, was consent enough. Her soul had cracked, but instead of being consumed, it merged. Maros didn't just feed. He recruited. And Anna was now a vessel, a silent passenger in the next hunt, her fractured psyche buried deep behind those glowing eyes. The little girl wasn't being haunted. She was being groomed. Anna's voice would sometimes emerge in her dreams, not in warning but in lullabies. She would tell the girl stories of love, loss, and hunger, of being seen, truly seen for the first time, and how comforting it was to let go. The cat watched the girl sleep, and somewhere behind its eyes, Anna smiled. Let us know in the comment section, would you let a stray cat into your home?
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts? Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare,